All right, welcome back to the dashboard creation series. This is a series where we talk about creating a dashboard that helps you, calculate the fundamental sentiment of the market based on the macroeconomic data available. So in creating this dashboard, we have created the news input page and the news page. The news page was something I gifted to all of you. You could use it for free. The news input page, however, is something you have to create yourself somewhat. And let's move on to the next part of that whole situation. For the next part of that situation, what we see here is we need to get the sentiment, the type, the indicator rank, and the points gotten by each news event. Now, to do this, normally you're supposed to just look up the information here against the news page to get the exact indicator rank, to get that the actual, when the actual is greater than forecast, you can get the sentiment immediately, or when it's less than, you can get the sentiment, you can get the type. It's supposed to be that easy. However, let's just do that. Like I said, we're going to be making mistakes alongside each other. So if you do XLOOKUP and you select the event, put the comma, you come here, select the entire event row. And in this case, let's say we want to bring out the indicator rank first, or the type of news first. And what you notice here is it's screaming NA, and only a few of them are busy giving us the right situation, right? So what's happening here? It's a lot of things, right? The very first thing you need to observe is if you filter for the NAs, right? You filter for the NAs, what you will quickly notice is that the ones with NAs are the ones that usually have this, either they are holidays or they have this statement called year over year, month over month, week over week, something of that nature, or something that just has a bracket inside it. That's what you notice. So what it means is you have to solve the problem of removing brackets from the situation here. And to do that, this is where the news filter, the event name filter is actually applicable. So we're going to put it right here. And what does that actually do? Well, the formula is very simple. I'm going to copy out the formula right here and put it straight into this page. I'm going to show you exactly what the formula is all about. So what the formula does is the formula says it looks at the event as it is written and takes the text before the space and the bracket. So the very first space and bracket it sees, it stops right there and starts to take every text before then and discards it. Now, if it doesn't see a bracket in that entire write-up, it is simply going to return the exact name it's spotted the very first time. So right there, you see it's producing the names it sees the very first time without bringing out those breaks. And this is like pretty good, right? However, a lot of these things will not be found in the event page. For example, these New Year's days and the rest, we don't get it in. They are not calculatable things. They don't need calculation. So what we want to do is we want to make sure things like that do not come in, because if they come in, we're going to end up seeing NAs at the end. Or I think we should just do it straight up and see how it leads, so you see the results of trying to go that route. So the next thing we want to get is the sentiment of that news, right? The sentiment of that news. We're going to put the sentiment on the side here, and to get that sentiment of the news. Now, again, it depends on if the actual is greater than forecast or the actual is greater than less than forecast or previous. So in this case, we've already done whether actual is greater than forecast or previous in the difference page, meaning we now know whether the actual is greater or less than the forecast. To do that, we simply say equal to. Now, if the logical formula is this is greater than 0, right? If it is greater than 0, then it should perform a lookup of, right, of the event filter. That is because this is the name it actually knows, against the total event filter here, and bring back this, because this is what represents that actual is greater than forecast. Now, this is the first situation, right? But there's another situation whereby actual is less than 0. So if open brackets and then you go to the difference again, we're going to go back to the news, to the input page, and say now if the difference is actually less than 0, because there are actually 3 situations here that can happen. Or let's just do it. Let's do it with a far more simpler formula. The simpler formula is to say ifs. So ifs, ifs. That way we don't have to write too many logics. So the very first one has already been written. This is greater than 0. When it is less than 0, what we're going to do is we're going to say the same XLOOKUP is going to look up for the event name filter inside the event name filter light, that's this event, and then return the less than. So this time, it's less than 0, so less than focus. But there's a final situation, right? There's a final situation where this is actually just directly equal to 0. So if it is equal to 0, oh, sorry, I didn't close the XLOOKUP formula first. So the last place is where the difference is directly just 0. So if it's equal to 0, that's obviously just neutral. There's no other formula you would need. And voila, we have all of them. However, when you pull up this, you would notice you have a lot of NAs, like a lot. And what are these NAs? The exact situation I told you about, right? The exact situation I told you about where we don't have inputs here, except for something like this. So you can see this word leading index. This word leading index is different. You can see it's supposed to return an answer, right? It's supposed to return an answer. Let's look down if we see any other situation where this happens. Okay, it happens here again in benchmark benchmark NSA. So let's pull out this particular situation, event index. We're going to clean up this data and figure out why is leading index failing us. So when you pull out leading index, right, pull out leading index, what you see is there's no space here. It is here. However, it is not coming up here. Why? Is because when you come in here, you realize there are actually 2 spaces, not 1. There are two spaces in this situation. So what you want to do is you want to remove the space and we press enter. Automatically, you see, it returns a proper number. I'm going to scroll down to the next situation where we'll have that similar case. You notice such NAs, such spaces, if you just take out that space, it's not something you can't do by yourself. It's just twice. It happens only 2 times out of how many news we've entered. So it's fine. We can manage this situation like this. Now we want to reapply this filter and get the situation. Now, for these things, we don't want them to be returning NA because NA is going to be crashing our formulas in the long run. Hence, what we want to do is we want the NAs to appear as nothing, right? So we'll say if NA, open the brackets entirely and you close it and you return the number 0. So all NAs will just return to 0. It is not a positive or a negative to the situation we are finally trying to address here. Now we have gotten the sentiments. The next thing we want to get is the types, the type of news it actually is. And there's a reason why we need a type, because you'd see it later in time. We are able to figure out types of the type value, the type strength of each news, of each currency. Now, the type of news is actually very simple. We're just going to apply a straight lookup formula. We're just going to say equal to XLOOKUP. Again, we're looking for the event in the news events, and we want it to tell us the type of news it simply was. That's all. That's it. It's going to return each and every one of them. However, again, we're going to notice that's any situation because some of these news were not imputed into that phase as they were not important, like someone speaking. Now, to deal with those NAs again, we need to, this time, not return NAs, but instead we return blank space. Just complete the formula with blank space and you see it turns it up into blank spaces. That way we've gotten the types. The good thing about the news page is it's already done the maths of multiplying the event rank by the type rank to give us the indicator rank. So we don't need to bring in the event rank or the type rank. We just simply dive straight to the indicator rank. Now, to get the indicator rank, what we're going to do is exactly the same scenario. XLOOKUP again. So XLOOKUP for, that was a mistake. I'm putting it in the wrong place. So come back here. So it's XLOOKUP for the same event. You can see everything after this point is literally coming because of the event. You can see how important this event is right now. and we bring back the indicator page. If it doesn't see it again, it just brings us an empty space. That way we get the indicator rank. I'd like to take that straight out from here. We have the indicator rank all the way from 1 to 9. Actually, there's no 1 to 9. You notice that there are some numbers that are skipped, like 5 and 7 are totally skipped. The last part of the whole equation here is a very, very simple one, right? Very simple one. Is the points button. Now, if a news is bearish, obviously it lost that point. If a news is bullish, then it got that point. And for a news to be bullish or bearish, it means the actual was either greater or less than, or, you know. Now, we cannot be using the calculation here. We just simply use the type. To do that, we're going to have to change these types to either plus minus, the sentiment. We're going to have to change this to plus minus or 0. So bullish means obviously it is a plus, bearish means, negative, and neutral means 0. So this formula is simply, we're going to do switch, so whereby it takes the word it sees here, and we're going to select this place. This is the expression it's looking at. So it's going to switch the word. If it sees bullish, it's going to switch it to +1. When it sees the word neutral, it's going to switch it to 0. And when it sees the word bearish, it's going to switch it to -1. So that's the first part of the formula. And then we'll multiply that result by the indicator rank. And there you have it, a lot of things showing up. Okay, I'm seeing an error. Oh, I selected the wrong thing. It wasn't the type. I selected type. I'm supposed to select sentiment. So sentiment, yeah, there we have it. Now we're seeing a lot of values. Again, so it's not returning the proper write-up. So in this case, rather than use if any, we say if error. So if error, take it to 0, not any. Now we have finally found the last part of the situation, which is the points. So you can see how simpler I have been able to make the dashboard for you guys. I have literally taken everything in 3 pages. You can see it, the news page, the news input page, and the data page into one single page that you can use. So the next video we'll be talking about something much more simpler. We finished the entirety of complexity in this video. The next page, what we want to talk about is how to get the indicator, the individual currency pages. However, to get this, you require a filter page. This page is meant to pull out specific information to a specific currency. This is what the next video will be about. See you all in that one, and peace out.